Hello, everyone, and welcome to the full moon of February 2025. It's a snow moon. Kathi and I are here with Heart Tree Institute to talk to you just a little bit about this full moon and what it might mean for you and what it kind of means for the world. And we're going to pull some tarot cards too. And Kathi and I were just talking about this full moon and how beautiful it's been. We're up here in the Northeast and we've had some snow. We've had some blankets of snow, so it's been truly a snow moon and it is glorious. The full moon's on Wednesday, the 12th of this month. But even last night, I was showing Kathi, I took a picture at 4 a.m. That incredible luminous moon on this snow. It's so bright. It's so magical. And we've had this fresh snow this weekend, which was it brought this kind of like silence. Like I could hear the silence. It was very beautiful.
I could hear the silence.
I could hear the silence. I was like, what is that sound? And I was like, oh, it's nothing. Which was phenomenal because the snow came on a Sunday, which was a quieter psychic day anyway. And then this beautiful moon, and I've been experiencing, and I know a lot of us have been experiencing this week, is this moon is really shining light into places that need to be almost like belief systems that need to be broken down. And those are personal belief systems, family belief systems, governments, churches, banks. It's like this moon is shining this light, this pure, sparkling, divine light into these places that are no longer serving us, that are belief systems that are hindering, that are, we're just kind of like waking up and going, oh my God, I can't believe I've been doing that for so long. And because it's this full moon in Leo, it gives us opportunity to break out of that old and then really stand in this authentic self, a place of sort of putting oneself first, putting oneself's truth first, putting oneself's life first, and breaking out of these old belief systems and with incredible clarity and incredible authenticity. And also the opportunity of that Leo is to stand in the power without blame or shame. And sometimes it's really hard to do when you're having to see a truth about yourself or a truth about a reality that you've been or what you've been allowing, to not then stand in blame or shame. But that's not authenticity. That's not an authentic place. That's actually just continuing the pattern. So that powerful lioness energy, that lion energy, it's allowing us to stand an authentic self,
Let the
owning
truth when
oneself.
you're speaking.
Yeah, absolutely. And owning one's truth authentically without projecting it out onto anyone and just letting it slough off in the brightness of this moon. So it's really a special time. I think it's been a hard week for a lot of people. And that full moon energy's coming and it'll last, for the week after too. There'll be the revelations as we head into February as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, Kathi, what are your
That,
thoughts
that,
about
that's,
this full
that's
moon?
such a beautiful setup. One of the things I think about the full moon and just observing it's been so bright. We've been seeing it for a couple days now, days. So I can't imagine Tuesday night into Wednesday morning where it will be at its fullest, how really magical it's going to be, because it's so magical now. It's the smallest moon in the apogee, so it's furthest away, so it's small. But when I look at the moon, it's almost iridescent, like these white
Yeah,
energy is just being emitted from the
yeah,
moon to illuminate. It feels like purity, clarity, stillness. And I think it's a time to remember where we've come from and
yeah.
all that we've done well. Because when we have these stuck patterns, and we all have these patterns, we all come from paradigms that have co-created who we are in the world, and we start taking them for granted, like, you know, they're just part of our makeup when they're not. They're actually layered on like a coat we can remove. So I wanted to show you my snow crystal. It's a snow crystal from Mexico. And this snow crystal, it's on amethyst. So it's an amethyst bed with all of this snow. This is for those of you that have looked at crystals and studied crystals, this particularly snow-capped amethyst is a very, very high frequency. And I always work with crystals and whole crystals when I work, and I invite crystal energy. And this just wanted to be picked up. It wanted to be seen. It was almost like levitating off the table, and I had to grab it to show you all because it was so excited that you could experience, because the snow caps on the amethyst is such a powerful vibration. And what it does, it connects our spirit with the Divine Mother, benevolent consciousness, the God, whatever higher power you believe in. This is like, it's like taking a column of light that just raises us up to appreciate the full moon. And what I love about the moon is that she's feminine and she comes to us. She
Yeah,
shines the light on us. This
that's
is a
right.
beautiful time to put crystals in the window or anything you want to clear,
Yeah.
jewelry,
Mhm.
anything that can be cleared. Use the snow moon frequency for
Mhm.
purifying things that you have. And it's a great time to do it for your crystals when it's so big and wonderful. And I showed you Leo earlier, and
Yeah.
this is the full moon in Leo. And when I pulled this deck from the moonology, my moonology deck, it said "Go wild," which says all those past beliefs, all those past patterns and paradigms and paradoxes, all those things that co-created who we are, to throw them up in the air as though it's 52 card pickup. Throw everything up, everything in your life, see where it lands and see how it resonates today. So it's kind of like taking the big things up in life
Yep.
and
Yeah.
just saying,
Mhm.
what do I hold? What is mine to hold? What
Yeah.
is mine to release? What is
Mhm.
mine to nurture? Where do I
Yeah.
need nourishment in my heart, my soul? Where do
Mhm.
I find that in my environment?
Mhm.
So I love that this full moon, that is a powerful full moon in the snow moon of purification, is
Mhm.
ignited with the fire of Leo.
Yeah,
And they say
absolutely.
Regulus, the star Regulus in the
Mhm.
constellation Sirius, Regulus, and the lion are very
Mhm.
much connected. So this is a time to be courageous and follow your
Mhm.
heart. In the
It's
Wizard of Oz, we had the lion. He was afraid, but when he always had the courage, and you have the courage too. You have the courage to face whatever is before you, because we get to choose. We have free will, and we're so fortunate
yeah.
that we have free will.
Yeah, and I think that's really what this moon has been doing. It's like these places where we have been choosing, but choosing on old belief systems, choosing unconsciously. It's like the light is going into those places, and we think we've been taking care of ourselves. We've been, self-caring and all this stuff, but then suddenly it's like, oh my God, I'm doing that with my energy. I'm doing that with my belief system. So it's like a deeper dive into what it is to take care of oneself and what it is to stand in one's authentic self and not give away I don't want to say like power and self, but power and self, to other things that no longer require it. And even thinking that those things require you to be that way is a belief system. And that's, I guess, what I really wanted to get at is somewhere along the way, we thought or believed that we were required to care about this or this or this or tend to this and this and this in a certain way. And it's probably not required anymore. Or even if it is, it can go into doing through the light of consciousness
Mhm.
and not the light of unconsciousness, just like automatic, but the light of choice. Like, yeah, I'm still going to do that, but I'm choosing to give. I'm not giving out of this automatic requirement or belief system that's actually running under the surface and draining me. So it's really powerful, and it takes courage. It takes courage to look at those things and change those things and really stand in one's power. It's a courageous moon. Absolutely.
It really is. It's so
Yeah.
powerful. So I'm going to pull a couple of cards. So what I'm asking Tarot, this is a witch's deck, um, and by Ellen Dunn. And I love this deck. I've used it for a long time. It's very well used. And so I charged it with the snow cap amethyst. And I'm asking for a confirmation, clarification, anything additional that Tarot would like to express at this time. So we're going to see what the cards are. And while I'm shuffling, because I'm sensing they're not quite ready for some reason, it's still coming through, is to talk about, and I told Amanda my story of the daffodil. It's something I use all of the time in the imagery, that the daffodil is a ball and has to rest in the winter. If it didn't go through the rest cycle, the daffodil would die because, the blooms die and then the stalk dies. So this is what the daffodil has to do so it can bloom. It
Yeah.
has to rest. It has to go inside. It has to retreat under the blanket of snow. And I love, Amanda, I'm always writing down quotes that you say because I love them, but I heard the silence. I heard
Yes.
the silence. This is the time to hear the silence and embrace the silence, because the silence is what opened us to illumination. So embracing the silence. Okay, now you're ready. It's like the cards have a mind of their own.
I do.
It's like they do, yes. Amanda agrees. So the first card is the King of Swords. And I think I'm going to usually pull a couple so we get a whole spectrum of what's happening. If you can see the King of Swords is the master of the mind. He can master the mind. The sword is the element of air. It's pointing straight to the heavens, straight to divine essence, all things above. And he sits comfortably in his chair because the King of Sword has become wise. He has mastered all the numerology cards, the court cards, and the king is the master of the mind. So this is telling us to master the mind, not to
Yes.
let the mind, like you were describing, Amanda, on the patterns and the paradigms and the old belief systems that created what we do. This is like master the mind, choose. This is choose. And I love that the tip of his sword is illuminated. I think
Yes.
that's really, really beautiful. And I think what holds us back many times in our own expansion and evolution is the mind.
Mhm.
But we can manage that mind. It can happen. Okay, so here we have the wheel of life.
Oh,
This,
oh, look at
and this is all of the seasons. So
that.
this is saying that, and it has all of the elements, all of the seasons. This means things are always changing. Nothing is still. Every season is required before the next season. We have to have winter to have spring. We have to have
Mhm.
spring seedlings, planting, budding, flowers, plants, trees, leaves in order to have the blooms in the summer. And then
Mhm.
all of the vegetables that grow and the flowers that bloom, when we harvest all of that in the fall to bring it back to winter where we rest again. This is saying this is a natural cycle of life. It is
Yeah.
important to be and go with the cycles of life. If we have an illuminated full moon and we want to go into a dark cave, we won't receive the light. It's a choice. But this is normal, natural to go through seasons. And I will
Mhm.
mention one thing about astrology is that a lot is happening beyond this planet. There are
Yeah.
five planets. There are also stars, of course, but they're coming into new zodiac signs, moving into Aries, moving into Aquarius. And when we have all of this happen, it feels like chaos. And we're
Yeah.
probably all feeling the chaos of the world. Things are
Mhm.
out of control.
Yeah.
That is
Mhm.
what happens when the planets do this. And the planets also natural rhythms. They've always had this cycle. This is their cycle. The slower moving planets to change houses is a big deal. It's a
Big deal. We
very big deal.
a
It
lot of
slows us
time.
down. It brings us into the moment and it
Yeah.
says, what serves
Yeah.
me now?
Yeah.
What do
And it
I
can
share
change.
and give?
Yeah. And it can really change the focus of your life. Different planets
And
and
that's why
different
this card
focuses.
came. So,
Uh,
generally, knights are cards of action and movement. This
yeah.
knight is holding everything he values. If you see the Five of Pentacles, which is, it could be finance, but and it is earth. It's
Mm,
what you value on earth that you're carrying forward into the next cycle. What
yeah.
are you carrying forward? And notice, he's not galloping, he's not racing. He actually kind of looks like he's kind of standing still. He's slow
Yeah.
and he's patient and he's holding on to all that he values and he's carrying it forward. And we see the beautiful sky and the sun glowing with energy and the deer and the river and nature. And when we
Mhm.
see pentacles, it reminds me of the importance of connecting to nature and earth for grounding. Because I'll let Amanda finish what she was saying about the planets, and I'll just add one more thing is that the planets move for us too. We're all part of that same bigger
Yeah.
connectedness, and to actually embrace this time of stillness as
Yeah.
we move forward
Mhm.
in life. So,
Yeah.
tarot, I think, never disappoints.
No, it never does. It never does. I love the first card because it had so much illumination in it, and that sword, and I always think of the sword as the sword of truth. So it's a mind, it's the mind holding the sword of truth. I also find it really interesting because you mentioned that the full moon is the feminine, right? It's the feminine cycles. It's 28 days, it's full moons, it goes with women and their menses cycles and the cycles of life and time and 13 full moons a year. I mean, there's real feminine magic in the moon. And yet we have two masculine cards and also Leo, whenever you see Leo represented, almost always it's that male lion, with a full mane. So I find it really interesting that we're really in this really intense, beautiful, feminine full moon, and yet there's a real masculine component of that. And I actually really love that when that happens because there to me, I really feel like there's a major undercurrent of the masculine and feminine rebalancing on this planet.
So,
There's a huge rebalancing, retelling of stories, personal stories, external stories, the books we read, the TVs we watch, like it's all changing. And it's a constantly evolving plan. And that's why I love the second card so much because it's just like, yeah, it's all right here. It's a wheel of life, right? It's a wheel of life, season to season to season to season, and they all have their own way and they all have their own flavor. But even in the rest, it's a constantly evolving plan, right? Even in the slowness, it's not stuck. It's never stuck. It's just evolving. And that's sometimes hard when we're changing paradigms or we're changing belief systems, is to let go of what we thought the plan was. And I also love that card, that sort of that knight is in kind of a minimalist place. He's like, what is valuable? Because that's the other thing that's just like kind of like rolling through our country is the sense of minimalist, or getting rid of unnecessary belongings. Like we feel inundated with all of this stuff that we've been inundated with for so long, and that's a huge trend, is to just to really keep what is valuable. And that's I think a real point of our sort of where we're evolving right now. Our evolution right now is just really looking at what's essential, really getting back to what is really important, and then keeping those, or holding those things as sacred, or holding those things as the treasure in our lives, and tending to them beautifully. So that's what that night at the end, that's what made me think of that too. And he's just, he's not stagnant. He's reflecting, but he's not stagnant in any way. And clearly by the world around him, green and bright, and animals, and
yeah, and the deer.
yeah.
When we're in chaos and we feel the chaos of the planets coming into their new houses of the zodiac, slowing down time and space in that kind of dimension, this is the most important time to be grounded, because when things are chaos, we can spin. That's why we take advantage of the full moon. We take advantage of the stillness. We take advantage of the clarity. We take advantage of self care and going inside and making choices with our free will to move forward. When there is chaos, it is the most important time to ground and center, connect to the earth, and know what you value and honor
Yeah.
what you value. Be grateful for what you value. Be grateful for what you have, and see if you can change your mind and
Mm-hmm.
allow that to be your new paradigm. I see
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
value. I know who I am.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's stabilizing. That's a stabilizing thing. And then there may be that chaos, and it can kind of play out in the outer world or even outer energy, but that stabilization inside, that kind of firmament, is a word I like to use lately, like a firmament, It's there and you can lean on it. You can lean into it, even though that kind of like there's this kind of like whoosh going on around, and it is. I mean, clearly it is. So it's like, well, what do you have inside of you that feels firm and secure? It's the things that you value most, that you treasure most.
And that is your anchor.
And that's your anchor. Absolutely. Beautiful. That's beautiful. I feel like we just said everything. So I just encourage everyone, Heart Tree Institute, we are going to start healing circles every month. We're going to just gather together. And it is an unplanned moment. It's co-created by those that are there and the energies in the day and in the universe and in the world in that time. And what Kathi and I bring forward for just a healing circle for everyone, a place to be. And we're going to be starting a new round of psychic development classes as well. So thank you so much for joining us today, wherever you are, all over the world. Actually, we have people who are going to be tuning in, which is really exciting
That's
too.
exciting. I love all of that. Well, thank you, Amanda, and thank you, everyone. Hope to see you at the Healing Circle Sunday.
Yeah,
Let's see.
sounds good. Okay.